What is up, everybody? Jester here, and today I wanted to touch on Schedule 1 just a little bit because behind the scenes I've been playing a ton of this game. Haven't really been streaming it, and I certainly haven't made any early game tutorials, which is something I would usually do when I play this much of a game. But what I have seen is a ton of end game type content that I think is just really misleading for a lot of people. Videos claiming to make $200,000, $300,000 a day or in 15 minutes that just aren't viable. That's not kind of how the math behind stuff works. I think there's a theoretical limit to how much you can make each day. So I have set up what I consider to be a pretty ultimate end game setup. And in the end, we're going to make just over $100,000 a day. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to set it up, how to use it, and some tips and tricks to make it run, and kind of show you why all these other videos are just pretty much clickbait. We've got a ton to talk about, so let's get into it. The first thing to consider when getting into your end game setup is what product you actually want to make. And the most profitable stuff is going to be the yayo. I don't want to say any words that are going to get me in trouble with YouTube. For our purposes here, we've got a product called Kingdom Come that's in line with my Jester's Kingdom type of thing. And each piece sells for $735. To make this, it is an 8-mix process starting with motor oil, then cuke, paracetamol, gasoline, cuke, batteries, horse juice, and then mega bean. And that's going to give us a brick of the Kingdom Come about every 2.5 minutes or so coming off of that final mixer once everything is finally rotating through and running. But in order to get this thing running full time where there's no gaps, we have to figure out where our bottlenecks are going to be, what part of the process is going to slow us down. And to do that, we need to start at the beginning of the process. Anyone that's reached this point of the game and has started doing the coca leaves and the coca seeds probably already understands that the biggest bottleneck you have is the time it takes to grow the plant and then the time it takes to dry the plant into the heavenly quality, which is what you're going to be looking for to maximize value. You don't have to do the drying process, but you are going to make more money if you go through this full process. So for me, I've separated into 2 facilities. The barn is my grow/dry area, and I visit here once a day, and then I move product to the docks warehouse where it is then cooked and mixed and stamped into bricks. And I'll get to all the numbers on that in a minute. I am going to show you another option where you could use the bungalow to actually do your drying, and then you could overproduce a little bit here so you're not running as close to the number you need as I am. But for me, everything works out. So far, I've not run out of any product. And let me kind of show you guys how it works. We have a total of 40 air pots, as well as 40 full spectrum lights. This is going to give you all of the speed bonuses you can currently get in the game when it comes to grow speed. But even then, each one of these plants only produces 9 leaves about 1 to 1.25 times a day. And that quarter time a day is actually going to be pretty important because that's how we actually keep up with stuff. Because our goal here is to get 3 finished racks of product. Now, that is going to be a total of 480 finished leaves, meaning we not only need 24 drying racks, but as you can see, with only 40 total air pots and 9 leaves coming off, if it was only once a day, we would only produce 360. That's where that extra quarter comes in. So just know that I stay right on the line of what I need every day, and I think this setup will work for you guys as well. To operate this, you need, of course, your 5 botanists down here, each working 8 of these pots. They then move these to this particular rack. I have a handler that moves from here to here, and then here to here. And then my 3 botanists, each with 8 drying racks apiece, will pull from here, and then it comes forward. They then, once dried, will move over to this rack, or this rack, or this rack. And then my handler will move from those 3 racks to these 3 racks. That's it. And we have 1 cleaner, meaning that I have to take some trash and move it to an area where the cleaner is actually doing, because they'll only cover 3 trash cans, and we have 5 areas. So there's a little bit that I do each day just to kind of keep the setup looking clean. But this area does produce 3 racks of finished product a day, and you only have to visit here once a day. And the other beautiful part is it runs on 2 products. 1, your seeds. 2, your soil. And I can also kind of cheat the system a little bit because I'm not going to need seed and soil anywhere else. So now I can just order in advance extra seed and extra soil and have that here. Of course, in my setup, I do also have plenty of backup stuff just in case I can't get product in time, which has not been a problem for me whatsoever. But if you wanted to overgrow here, you could set up, say, 6 or even 8 of these grow areas, and you will way overproduce. Let me run to the bungalow real quick, and I'll show you exactly how that would look. If you wanted to use the bungalow as your drying facility, it's going to require 3 botanists, and that's all. There's no other materials you would need here other than what you would put down in the first place, but you would have the extra step of transporting your leaves via van. You could put 2 full racks plus 1 in your inventory and come down here once a day to where you can actually set these 3 botanists up to run 8 separate dryers each. And then to accomplish this, we've actually got a whole bunch of racks back here. These would be the 3 racks where they would have their working stuff, and then this would be the area where the finished product would show up. But this is very, very low maintenance here, but it would be an extra step, and it would cost you a little bit extra to do this. But you could overproduce and then never have to worry about running out of leaves on the back end. But just know that you don't even have to worry about ordering anything for these guys. They just come in and they work and they place the leaves where they go. For me, it's a little bit out of the way and it does take some extra time. And I decided to just consolidate since our growing/drying works right at the number that we need for the docks warehouse. And with that, let's go over and show you how that works. As far as production here at the docks warehouse goes, it is really straightforward, and we use as much automation as we possibly can with the amount of employees that we are currently allowed to have, which is 10. So what we've done here is we've set up 6 cauldrons with 6 ovens. And this is why we've keyed on 3 racks a day, because each one of these cauldrons takes 6 minutes or 6 in-game hours in order to cook 1 stack, meaning on a 24-hour cycle, you would get 4 stacks through, and then times 2, times 3, there you go. That's why we have 3 stacks. Now, in reality, that's not actually what you get through, because there is time that the employee takes to get everything cooking. There's time that they have to be doing another thing as far as getting this product out of here. And then there's time that they're traveling between all of their different stations. So really, 1 rack a day, you're probably not going to use exactly that. You're probably closer to 6 stacks a day versus the 8, but it's better to have more and not need it than to not have enough and need it. And this thing runs all day long with 0 issues, so long as we keep stuff stocked. As far as the workflow goes, it goes from the ovens to this rack, where a handler will then move it to the middle rack, and then again to the back rack. This ensures that we are getting stacks of 20 to our mixers, because stacks of 10 make it difficult to get things reordered on time. At least that's just what I found. And then we have a separate handler that makes sure that there is gasoline that goes to each of these different cauldrons, 3 of which are supplied by this rack, and then 3 of which are supplied by this rack. Now, when it comes to stocking the back end, we have a handler that makes sure that we're putting the mixers in, and a chemist that runs 4 stations each. So this basically runs consistently all day long. And what I want to do just for a second is, what I've seen in a lot of videos is a lot of people telling you to put your mixers up front so that it's much easier to unload. I'm going to tell you guys that that's wrong. And the reason is because of travel distance. These chemists, when you're giving them 4 mixers to run, they do not leave this area. Whereas the people running, the chemist running the ovens and the cauldrons up front here, they do go out front and stand because they got nothing to do for minutes at a time. Meaning that if you had your cauldrons and stuff in the back, you would then have to add in a whole bunch of travel time that it takes for them to get to the back. Now, is it only about 20 or 30 seconds? Yes, but that's way less efficient than them walking right here in 5 or 10 seconds and getting their stuff done. Whereas these mixers, or I'm sorry, the chemists back here on the mixers do not actually move. As far as reordering stuff, this is where it can get a little bit tricky. That's why I have a couple of backup racks of everything we're going to need. And then I would have ordered this stuff, but as you can see, we've got a couple of minutes before it arrives. So I can then just take this rack of stuff back over here, and we can go ahead and say, yep, this is this. And then what I do is I put 2 racks here. This rack is for the back 4 mixers, and then the first rack would be for the first 4 mixers. So basically, it's just kind of a plug and play. You're only going to get 9 bricks a day out of this facility. Now, what that means is with only 8 pieces on your rack, you have to fill slightly over once a day. So once you've done that for the day, if you started with a little bit of a rack, you are free to move around about and do other things, i.e. launder money, i.e. collect from your dealers, i.e. get your dealers more product. This is all just one big process, and I promise you guys, once you get into this and you see how this system works, you will find a rhythm to this. Actually, I need to put that right there so that we can come back and get this rack done. So then when this stuff comes in, all I have to do is take from the trucks and restock my backup racks here. This is all really, really simple. And I really love this, even though it does require some attention and it's not exactly as fast as what I'd hoped it would be. We still get 9 bricks a day out of this facility. And if you guys want to see something more detailed into how you set all of this up and how all the automation works, let me know in the comments and I will be happy to do that. But I didn't want to go too in detail on that. I kind of want to keep this short. But what do we profit every day for all of this? And I'm talking after cost. That's where it gets real fun. All right, look, we've already gone a little bit too long here. I didn't want this to be that long a video. Just know that you're going to get, between our 2 facilities, 9 bricks a day. Some days you might get 10. It just depends on where the chemist starts in your run, especially if they start with like the Mega Bean, the last mixer, or if there was a brick ready to be done in the press that didn't get done before 4 a.m. But guaranteed you're going to get 9 out of here a day. All right, so that means at $735 a piece and 20 pieces of brick, each brick is worth $14,700. Times 9, $132,300. And this is where almost all the clickbait crap videos tell you that's how much money you make, because they're not willing to do the homework and actually show you how much it costs to run these damn places. The barn, between seed soil and our employees, $9,900 a day. The docks warehouse, between cauldron gas, all our mixers, and our employees, $10,180 a day. That's $20,080 a day right off the top. But then they'll be like, okay, well, that's the number. No, they're still wrong. Because when you run a setup like this, unless Tyler in his heart of hearts decides to give us an employee that's like a facility manager that will order based on what's on a shelf, which would be awesome. Please, Tyler, if you ever see this video, consider that. It would be really cool for automation. We got to be here. We're not going to have time to go out and sell this stuff. Meaning we are subject to a 20% dealer sales fee. So $132,300 minus the 20% dealer fee, which is $26,460, leaves us with $105,840. You then subtract how much it costs to produce this stuff a day at $20,080. You're left with $85,760. Not the 100, 150, 200K that these clickbait ass thumbnails are telling you you're making. And it drives me nuts that creators do this crap work to click for views and they don't actually put in the effort and show you what you're making. Now look, $85,000, almost $86,000 is nothing to shake a stick at. It's a lot of money. But you're not making what they're saying you're making. And I know a lot of you have tried their setups and gone, hey, this don't work. And that's why, because they're not giving you the whole story. If you want the whole story, come to my channel, subscribe, because I do this with every game I play. I try to give you as complete a view as I possibly can on what it takes to do whatever it is that I'm trying to show you, whether it's Conan Exiles, whether it's Schedule 1, whether it's The Long Dark, or the upcoming Dune Awakening, which I am going to be looking out for. And if you guys like the fact that somebody's actually putting the work in and giving you the right information, please like the video, because that will help it get out to more people. But until next time, I've already rambled on long enough. If you guys have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me in the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.